So welcome everyone to our Wednesday night midweek Oasis Satsang service. It is Wednesday, June 29th. My name is Paul Prasuti. I'll be your host tonight. And we wish you a big, big hello, church family, as Richard Robinson would say on his Sunday morning meditations. That sticks with me. And I think that's appropriate because it is Pride Month. And tonight we continue recognizing Pride Month. This is a time to celebrate the diversity in our village, to expect our allyship with all the LGBTQ people, and to enjoy the Wednesday night speakers who are representing this LGBT community and members of our family here at the Oakland Center. So why do we call it the Oasis? Well, it's a place where we can be together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. We present our Wednesday night services in what we call satsang, with the intention that this gathering be informal, intimate, and rich. And I declare it as so. We have an annual theme, and it's known as Wonder, Wonder Everywhere. We've been working on this since January and living with it every month with a new theme. This month is Living Everyday Wonder, the Body. So we've been focusing on the body. It is the last Wednesday night of the month, and it is the last official service where we will be celebrating Pride. But we still can continue it for the next few days when we meet at the center. It's a big deal for all of us, and we're glad to be able to present a focus on that this month. Please be noted, if you haven't done it already, we ask you to turn off your Zoom camera and your microphone while the speaker is speaking. This will improve the quality of the transmission. We do have special and important announcements, so please stay for them. At the end, I will be doing our ritual reading of the new Minister's Covenant that I'll ask you to follow along with. As well, we're trying a new approach here, and we're going to try to finish on time, mindfully on time. So we will be doing sharing tonight. So when we get, you'll know when that's coming. It's about halfway through the service tonight at 7:30. Please be mindful of timing. If you have something to share, let's be brief, but we want everyone to have the opportunity to share. We would like to complete by 8 o'clock tonight. That's our intention, but we may go over a little bit, but we're going to try to stick to that. So right now, I would like to take a moment and ask Reverend Jerry to come forward. She's been asked by our speaker tonight to do the opening prayer. We don't start anything at Oakland Center without prayer, and we don't finish it without prayer. So Reverend Jerry, I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Paul. I just invite us now to take a deep collective breath, breathing in all the gifts of life, knowing that as we continue to breathe, that one power, that one presence, that one life force that is all knowing and wise and boundless and infinite and everywhere present is right where we are this evening. And it is filled with peace and harmony, joy and love, with clarity and wisdom and goodness and everything good. And we're calling forth that good this evening, knowing that we are one with this divine power and presence. And we have come together this evening in that power of oneness, that power of love. And so I'm very grateful this evening to speak my word on behalf of Chantal's delivery of the most perfect service for us related to the body. I'm just so grateful that Chantal is with us this evening as our guest speaker, although she's no guest, she's part of our spiritual family, of course. And we are here to celebrate her and to celebrate one another. We are truly a blessed community, and I'm so grateful for everyone who's participated in making this service come forth with ease and grace. How good it is. how good God is. And I'm grateful, so very grateful for each and every one participating, for each of us who are here and those who are yet to come. I know that we are divinely inspired this evening, and I'm calling it good and very good. As I let go and let God be God in this attitude of gratitude and knowing that as these words drift into that universal law of life, that everything is in divine and perfect order. So please join me this evening in sealing this prayer by saying, "And so it is." Amen.
So it is. Thank you, Reverend Jerry. As Reverend Jerry said, our speaker tonight is Practitioner Chantal Rohlfing. We're so delighted to have her here. I'm thanking you again in advance, Chantal. We know what you're about to present to us is something we need to hear and will enjoy. So thank you, Chantal. The floor is yours, madam.
Thank you, Paul, and thank you, Reverend Jerry, for the beautiful prayer. So it's good to be with everyone tonight. And even though I can't see most of you, I just am feeling the support and the connection of this community and us coming together. So I'm going to talk tonight about on the monthly theme of the body. And I just first want to say a little bit about myself and Pride Month, and then I'm going to go into a story about the body. So for those that don't know me, again, my name is Chantal Rohlfing. I'm a practitioner here. And I'm just going to name some of the things about me, my body, who I am. So I'm a white cisgender woman, a lesbian, a mother, a psychotherapist, a wife, an activist, a spiritual seeker, and a practitioner of science of mind. So I bring all of these identities into my life, my mind, my body, and spirit. And I'm so happy to join you during Pride Month to talk about the body and our relationship to the body. So before I get into the topic on the body, I want to just say there's been a lot going on in the world. And for most of us in our personal lives, as we're dealing with changes that have been foisted upon us during the pandemic. I felt in a bit of a dilemma about what to focus on in my talk tonight. With so much going on, there are so many perspectives I could choose to focus on. I happened to be giving this talk on the day after the 53rd anniversary of the historic Stonewall Rebellion of LGBTQ people in the US. And this has become a day that's an affirmation of pride and acceptance of a community that has been rejected and oppressed for centuries. We've had several wonderful speakers here this month focusing on pride and many of its meanings. And I'm so blessed to be in a community that honors this community and honors pride. So I just wanted to acknowledge that. And I also wanted to just acknowledge that last week, there was a big decision that affected at least women's bodies when the Supreme Court overturned the 50-year Roe versus Wade precedent, which had allowed women to have greater control over their bodies and whether or not to bear children. So for many women, including myself, who I'm a long-term feminist, it has been a week of accepting and not accepting and feeling some grief and loss of freedom, as many women renew the struggle to fight for autonomy for their bodies. So I wanted to acknowledge that. That event just happened to come up this week as I was talking about the body. And I just wanted to acknowledge that some people are feeling that change in our country right now. So we experience all of these world and national events through our bodies, which includes our emotions, because in fact, we are embodied spiritual beings. Today, I'm going to talk with you about some ways we can direct healing towards our bodies, minds, and spirits as we navigate change and loss in our lives. And rather than focusing on larger national cultural events, I've decided to, Spirit asked me to share a more personal story about changes in my own body and how I'm giving meaning to that. So, first of all, my body has allowed me to experience being birthed, giving birth, coming out, sexuality, love, spiritual experiences, illness and recovery, menopause, aging, trauma, healing, anger, fear, sadness, grief, and joy. All of these feelings come through my body. My body's the vehicle through which I experience life, including my memories, my health, my thoughts, and my emotions. And this is true for each one of us. So when I talk about body, it goes much beyond that. As Ernest Holmes said, I know that the healing presence of life is within me, forever restoring my mind and body. So what helps us to heal, to overcome patterns in our bodies and mind, which are so interconnected? As Naomi Judd said, your body hears everything your mind says, right? It's the science of mind. Your body hears everything your mind says. So I'm going to borrow a framework for healing in the body that comes from my life as a therapist, and draw from this type of therapy called internal family systems, a practice that really works with body, mind, and spirit. And in this theory, they talk about the higher self that we bring, which we call in science of mind our God self, that we're one with God, and some particular qualities, which I'm going to share my screen with you and go over them. Hang on for one moment as I do that. Okay, so these qualities of self, the higher self, and Paul was joking about earlier that there's more than one set of 5 Ps, but these 5 Ps are the qualities of patience, perspective, persistence, or we could say perseverance, presence, and playfulness. So those are the 5 Ps that I'm going to be talking a bit more about tonight. I'll leave that up for just a moment more. And I'm going to talk about how we can apply these 5 Ps to address both personal and societal issues that we're dealing with. So certainly during times of change and flux in our lives and in our society, it's important to keep perspective and to bring our presence. Patience and persistence allow us to take gradual steps to effect change. And playfulness is the balance we need in life to keep going. So I think I'm going to stop sharing my screen. If I can find how to do that. Bear with me. Okay, there we go. So I'm going to bring this down to the micro level and the theme of the body, and I want to share a personal story. It's ongoing about healing my body. So since I've been aging and I'm now in my 60s, I've begun to develop various aches and pains. The most recent one I've had is an Achilles injury, which then exacerbated the arthritis in my opposite knee. After having a habit of taking a walk daily for over 30 years now, this brought my walking to a dead halt. Every time I walked, I got worse, and I was soon advised to avoid walking altogether by my physical therapist. Apparently, I found out the Achilles tendon is very slow to heal itself. So my walks were kind of my contemplative time, where I would think and feel, pray, meditate, and immerse myself in beauty. During the worst time of the pandemic, on my walks, I would take pictures of flowers and plants that inspired me and uplifted me during my daily walks. It was my joyful way of connecting with something larger than my life, which had become primarily confined inside my home. So it's probably no surprise that I became discouraged. I even became depressed from not being able to take my walks. Not only was it about moving my body, but it was about this spiritual connectedness. And so what happened from there is I started going into negative beliefs I've learned about aging, starting to believe my life was this downhill slide to the finish line, or this impossible uphill climb to get to health. On top of my own struggle, my wife, Allison, has had a hip condition that's affected her ability to walk. And as a matter of fact, she's scheduled to get hip replacement surgery, which I'm happy about. But we've both been hobbling around the house for much of the past year, feeling the loss of all the things we haven't been able to do together. This healing process has been a frustrating time of 2 steps forward, 2 steps back. In fact, after days of resting and doing my physical therapy, I'd start to feel better. And then I'm just going to take a walk for a few blocks. Well, this would often lead to throbbing pain and swelling all through my legs and back to the icing and elevating routine, my leg wraps, my restless nights where I couldn't sleep. I became mad at myself and my body, and this impatient self-critic in me would rise up. Although I can be pretty patient with others, I'm not the most patient person with myself. So this encounter with my body has called upon me to develop the first P, the quality of patience. I learned that if I go too fast and too hard, I backslide on my healing. So patience is really a quality that I've needed to learn. And after over 6 months of this injury, I am starting to learn it, amazingly. When I've been caught up in feeling sorry for myself, I've stayed stuck. But when I've finally been able to bring the second P, a perspective, it allows me to see the big picture, that this injury is temporary, that healing is possible, and that I don't have to suffer. Bringing my own presence, the third P, to bear upon my body allows the acceptance and self-compassion needed to be with the healing process. So again, bringing my own presence to me allowed me to feel that acceptance and to really embody compassion for myself. That's been so important in my healing. So I really want to emphasize that. And then the quality of playfulness has helped me to continue to seek lightness in my life in new ways that I may have never considered, knowing that joy is a healing balm for the body and the soul. So over the last 6 months dealing with this injury, I've tried many things to shift my relationship with my body. I've asked myself what physical and emotional patterns have contributed to this inflammation in my body. I examined emotional issues, including my burnout with work. As a therapist, it's been pretty stressful these last couple of years. I've been taking on too many clients, and those clients have had a really hard time. So I've had to manage my own stress level around that and recognize that maybe I needed to cut back a little. Maybe I need to give myself more breaks. It also brought up for me issues of the past and traumas that have caused anger or inflammation in my body. So I've made these changes in my life. I've worked through some of these emotional issues, set better boundaries, and gotten some therapeutic support around all of this. That's helped me with the emotional level of this inflammation. On the physical level, I've seen a functional medicine specialist and my regular doctor, and I've begun taking supplements, changing my diet, the hard task of giving up dairy and gluten to reduce the inflammation in my joints. I've built strength in my muscles with doing physical therapy. I've relaxed with restorative yoga, and I've begun swimming, which is my new form of movement that comes in a close second to the joy of walking. Being in the water is a playful and wonderful way to move physical energy in the body, to heal and move through emotions at the same time. Gradually, very gradually, my inflammation is decreasing and I'm starting to heal. If I'm having a frustrating day or angry at the world events, I can swim out the frustration. But my biggest obstacle to healing, for which I think many people can know about themselves, has been my own negative thoughts and emotions. So to address this, I've up-leveled my prayer and meditation work. I have consciously chosen affirmations about loving myself, about loving my body, and accepting myself where I am. Again, this takes patience, presence, and persistence, for I must stay present to do my own work. Amy Lee McRae says, "Your body is an amazing, self-regulatory, self-correcting wonder." And I have to keep remembering that my body is healing, and I'm a co-creator of that. But it wants to heal. It's self-correcting. And then a quote by Alan Cohen that I really like. "To love yourself right now, just as you are, is to give yourself heaven. Don't wait until you die. If you wait, you die now. If you love, you live now." And so I've shared this story and my own perspective, what I've learned from working with my body, to as a model of how we can look beyond the physical to the connection between the spiritual and the emotional and our mind, our thoughts, right? So I invite you to ask yourself right now, how have you been able to accept changes in life through your body? Are there qualities of those 5 P's that you can use in your own healing? The presence, the persistence, patience, playfulness. And I think I'm forgetting one, perseverance, persistence, yes. And so I invite you to just take a moment to reflect on that. The idea of bringing those qualities, bringing that compassion to your own body which experiences your life through your thoughts, your emotions, and through its physical presence on this earth. And last quote I want to share, which I did during the meditation, is, "When we're awake in our bodies and our senses, the world comes alive. Wisdom, creativity, and love are discovered as we relax and awaken through our bodies." So I want to invite any comments, questions, personal sharing that people have about any of these issues that I've spoken to tonight. And so we can just open it up for discussion.
Thank you, Chantal. One thing I'd like you to do is look at that. If you want, could you repost that slide or tell me and I'll add it to the chat real fast of the 5 Ps?
Sure, hang on for a moment. Somehow it's disappeared, but I will find it.
Okay. While Chantal's looking for that, if you wish to share, we ask that you can now turn on your cameras if you'd like. And when you're ready to share, just raise your hand like this, or use the reaction button at the bottom and raise your hand where it says raise hand, and that'll put you in queue. And Peter is going to recognize you. And here comes the 5 Ps, and I'll put them in chat so we can refer to them during the discussion.
Thank you.
Give me just a second, typing fast. Patience, perspective, persistence, presence, playfulness. Here they go. Okay,
Different than
great.
your 5 Ps.
So how have any of those, right? Your inquiry was, can any of those be used, or have you used any of those 5 Ps to help you
Help you heal in your body or in some other way? Or yeah, maybe stories about your own healing.
I see Susan raising her hand. Susan?
Yeah, go ahead, Susan.
Okay, so I wanted to speak to playfulness because it's top of mind at the moment because I have grandchildren that are local, so I see them, and they're 5 and 8. And so I just spent probably the last 4 hours with them. And it's just from one thing to another, just making things up and being really playful. And just takes me away from thinking about the serious stuff that I'm supposed to be doing. And that's really a joy that brings the playfulness in, just being with them, and also a reminder to myself to also be playful. And I'm really happy to hear that restorative yoga has been helping you, Chantal, because as a yoga teacher, that's something I've really enjoyed offering people and myself. So it's especially during this pandemic. So that's what I wanted to share.
Thank you, Susan. Yes, grandkids are a great way to get in touch with your own playfulness, which really shifts, can shift your mood so much playing. I've had to think about creative ways to play. We've had like a Zoom call with friends where we play different games and things, and just really thinking about how do I bring more play into my life to balance it out, because I have a pretty heavy job. So I think that's a really important thing. And I just love yoga. It's so good for me to settle my system and lower my stress. Anybody else want to comment, share a story or thought about my talk?
Depending, Chantal, on the nature that your body speaks to you. I had an experience in the 80s, and I had a collapsed lung. Um, I was young, but it was hereditary. I didn't know it, and my body frame was thin, and the lining of my lung was, it was all part of, I was the perfect model, the perfect candidate. And it required a chest tube and a hospitalization period, and I had to use patience. And my perspective changed when you're dragging around a chest tube and you can't move. And so sometimes I was just making an observation when you brought it up. Did I use these things? I had to breathe into a certain thing to build up the strength of the lining of my lung. So persistence and perseverance, and it was not a pleasant therapy at all. There's something about the fact when you can't breathe comfortably, if that doesn't put you in the present, nothing will. And I had to be playful. I had to find things to play. So I guess I was doing the 5 Ps without even noticing it, but it took a hard stop illness for me to apply all 5 of those. And that's what I meant by the opening. Due to the nature of however your body speaks to you, sometimes it speaks real loud. It'll knock you down.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting me remember that period, because I did unawareingly, is that a word? Practice all of those in that process of healing. So thank you.
Thank you for illustrating that. Yeah, that quite an opportunity to grow when we have something that
Stops
major
you in your
happening.
tracks. Yes.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead, Maureen.
Hi, great talk, Chantal. Thank you.
Right.
So for me, what this brings up is like how disconnected I normally am from my body. We just go about our day, and we, especially as kids, like you just kind of knock it all over the place. You heal so fast, there's no need to really think about it. But I still think I'm fairly young, but nevertheless, I've had injuries and things like that. And it's caused me to have to connect with my body in a way that I hadn't been doing before. And so I hurt my neck, I hurt my back. And so it's like forcing me to really look at my posture and where and how I sit, how I hold my body. Where I never would have thought about how I'm standing or how I'm sitting and, holding my shoulders and things like that. So it's just really created some consciousness around that. And it's forcing me, the pain is forcing me to adjust and to, I guess, treat my body with the due attention and respect that it deserves. And it's always deserved. I just wasn't providing it to it. So
Yes, thank you. The body's such a wake-up call, isn't it? Wake-up
yes.
call to be mindful, to notice, because I agree with you. I often just would take my body for granted, like walking. Of course I can walk, or until something happens, and then you're like, wow, I'm so grateful for the fact that I could walk, or that I can walk again. So it's it wakes you up.
Regina, go ahead.
Hi,
Regina.
Chantal. Hi,
Regina.
everybody. I'm so glad that you came and offered a paradigm and the 5 Ps. I live in the world. My journey is organized around body. Okay. And my And I know that I am a spiritual being having a spiritual experience in a physical body. So that underscores the attention that my mind goes almost 24/7 throughout the day around what is going on inside and tracking what the heck is going on inside in terms of reactions, responses, elations, feelings, sensations, etc. And I believe that when we get challenged by our body, it is actually spirit knocking on the door and saying, hey, Regina, wake up here. There's something to learn here. There's something going on here, and you need to take a deep dive and unpack this. As I tell my clients, the body always wins. No denying. And so I have utmost the word respect doesn't even name it. Reverence for having a body that will inform me where to go, where to go, where to go, because there's so much there with our beliefs, our trauma, the opportunity to open to even more love when we have an incident that a crisis or an incident. And I too, Chantal, had an incident in 2020 when I opened up my practice. After 6 months, I had a knee injury, and I'm out there go, okay, I want to walk, because like you said, that is my meditation time. That is where I connect. That is where I see beauty, nature, me, soul, heart. All of it is a download in nature. So to walk in nature would be, not to be able to walk in nature would be a huge loss. And so for me at that time, I had to stop doing yoga and I had to stop walking hills, and I would walk a gentle, slow walk that was level. And it brought me in, it was such a teaching, Chantal. It brought me into such a profound sense of nourishment and mother, and settling into the earth and feeling safe, and the change that happened through that beautiful experience. And it took about 4 months where I could walk hills and do yoga, you know, but I felt so blessed by that. For me, it was like a little mini crisis, because I was also taking on my practice and working with his injury and standing, etc. So I bless these events that show up for me. Not that they're always easy, but it's like, wow, there's something here for me that's going to give me an opportunity to open up to more love, more ecstasy, more presence, more patience, everything that you list, more persistence and more playfulness, you know. And it's always a surprise what shows up, because that's the mystery as far as I'm concerned. So anyhow, I don't want to take over your talk. I just have so much, you know, get me started on the body.
No, I
So-
appreciate it. I was hoping you'd speak,
Yeah.
because
So
you have a
thank
lot of wisdom.
Yeah, and I'll be talking next week. Okay, show up.
Yay. That's a great perspective. I really like hearing what you're saying, and you gave me a new idea about how I can walk and really more deeply connect with the earth. So thank you.
All energy and just flow and move.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Feel Mother Gaia, because that Mother Gaia is a real deal. And the body always wins. You cannot
Yes.
ignore it.
Yes, there's also a
Always
book
Yeah.
called The Body Keeps the Score.
Keeps the score, the body speaks its mind, the body
Yeah.
reveals, many.
Yep.
Thank you for coming, Chantal. Love you, dear.
Thank you, dear.
Mhm.
Hey, Zoe.
Oh, yeah, hi.
Hello. So if my cat doesn't, I want to talk now. Chantal, thank you so much for this topic. And those 5 Ps, every single one of them is in play for me. When I had a practice as a personal trainer, I used to tell people that it was about the ABCs: awareness, balance, and commitment. Over the years, I've worked with many people who were dealing with injuries, dealing with the aging process when it is not exactly at its finest, and people who have dealt with exceedingly difficult injuries and various illnesses, some of which were terminal. And the word that sticks out for me when I think of all of that is perspective. When it comes to being able to heal, recognizing that there is more to healing than what happens in our body was really key for me. I used to be a runner, and I was very proud of being a runner. It was on my license plate, Runner Zoe. And I would get out there and I ran races and I won my age group. Never won a race from the very beginning, but I would win my age group on a regular basis, and I do quite well. When I was no longer able to run because I have a prosthetic knee, I thought, how am I going to be fully who I am? And, it comes down to perspective. I found that for me, healing meant finding ways to make the most of what I can do and to stop crying over what I can't do. I mean, I've been a bodybuilder. I've done a lot of different things, and I've been very blessed to have a lot of physical capacity. And now, as I approach 72, that capacity is significantly lessened. But I feel healthy. I feel strong. I feel that I am honoring where I am in my life from a physical perspective and from a spiritual and mental perspective as well. So being able to allow my body to inform my mind, allowing my mind to inform my body, it's been a tremendous benefit. Thank you.
Thank you. And that's quite a process to get from, feeling like your body is a big part of your identity, how you use your body. So that's a really important lesson. Thank you, Zoe.
Reverend Jerry, go ahead.
Thank you so much, Chantal, for your fabulous talk and for the 5 Ps. I love the 5 Ps, and patience is the one that stands out the most for me, because I think that when we are patient, so we allow healing to take place, we allow lots of opportunities for our body to recover and replace and regenerate. And being a kidney donor, for me, the resiliency of our body is just totally incredible. How our body can pick up and take over and just move forward. And I think with a good perspective and lots of patience and faith and trust, of course, always. I think our bodies are amazing, amazing vehicles for us. And I think being kind to them is one of the most important things. So I appreciate everything this evening, everything everybody has said, and just appreciating my body and the resiliency of the body and how it can just make its way through so many, so many things and still, and actually it's the way we think about, the experience. We may not be able to walk or run, but we can always find a way to appreciate our body and to work into something that can help nourish it and strengthen it. And so I really appreciate you this evening. Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you, Reverend Jerry. That was quite a miraculous story as we followed you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yes.
Gabriella, go ahead.
What Zoe was saying about your body having to do with who you are in the world, for me, moving my body has always been very helpful in focusing, because I was really ADD as a kid, but I was an athlete, and being an athlete really helped me be a student. And if I didn't have sports, I was kind of a space cadet. And I think there's a lot of different reasons why people get categorized or with ADD, having trouble focusing. And I think sometimes there's emotional components, and I think there's physical components, but exercise was huge for me. I think I was just kind of sometimes floating, and I needed to get down in here, and movement is always, so me showing up in the world is not a space cadet is part of, like, exercise is part of that for me. And also just, I'm a swimmer these days. And swimming helps me relieve stress and kind of process life, and help with focus and get my butt still, even at, my age. But not being that person who doesn't work out their stress through exercise is not totally who I want to be in the world. I think exercise helps me relieve stress, and then helps me show up more present for others, because I've worked stuff out already, and I can be more playful. I can be more present because I've worked stuff out. It's always been sort of a balancer for me. And I'm appreciating it, because I haven't been swimming, and now going back to it, I'm like, oh yeah, I worked that out in the water. So now I don't have to carry that all day. Oh, that's great. Yeah. I just wanted to add that. Thank you. I'm complete.
Thank you. I love that. I can work it out so I don't have to carry it all day.
Anyone else with a share that they'd like to? There we go. Freya.
Freya, yeah, go ahead.
There I am. I just think what you're talking about this evening is so important, and I've been trying to, seems like the connection with spirit sometimes is way easier than the connection with body and being rooted. So, and I'm just becoming so aware of that, even though I have this devotion to the earth, I'm realizing that the body is like part of that. And in order to be embodied, we need, I need to pay attention to my body. And I'm just realizing, just the last thing I wanted to say was that when the treatment, when the prayers are said, I always said, oh, I get teary as soon as, I open up to that. But really what happens is my throat starts crying. My throat loosens up, and then I can move down to my heart. And I think that's part of being in our bodies, allowing that movement. And there's always something, some refinement to make about that. So it's feels fun to me, actually, learning new things. Although I'd like to know it all at once, it's still fun to learn it little by little. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Freya.
Yeah, as we relax into our bodies, we have more access to our emotions. And I think part of the reason we shut down our bodies is so we don't feel our emotions. So they're very interconnected, right?
So if there's no one else that has a burning desire to share anything, we're ready to move forward with the program, but we cannot move forward without showing our appreciation to Chantal. So let's show our appreciation, whichever way you can do that, either with your camera or your icons or your reactions. See, Chantal, if you're in gallery view, you'll see all your peeps out there appreciating you. So thank you, everyone. And thank you, Chantal. We do have a few announcements tonight. We're going to make them brief and to the point. So when you're ready, Miss Helene, and what is coming up? Very important date. You know, we have a Loving Stewards of Motherly Earth Ministry. They're bringing a special workshop on Saturday, July 16th. You can read all about it on the events page. But what we need to remind you is that registration in advance is necessary for you to attend. You cannot just show up at this. And that's so that they can order the necessary materials for this very important and very learned class experience. The registration will close this Saturday, July 2nd. So if you even have an inkling you want to attend, please register on the events page. We don't want anyone to miss out. This Sunday, July 3rd, Reverend Jerry Carter engages us on a new topic, me, myself, and I. I believe the topic is the self. Please join us in person with meditation at 10 and the service at 10:30. I said that backwards. She's going to talk about me, myself, and I believe the monthly new theme is self. We are now streaming directly to YouTube, and the link is on the homepage if you choose to watch the service from home. Zoe, do you want to take a minute and talk about Calm coming up on Sunday?
Let's keep it real brief. So our topic for this month is grief as a path to wholeness. And if you want to talk about perspective, folks, this is definitely one for the books. So by all means, please come and join us either in person or on Zoom. That will be 12:30 this Sunday.
And that'll be in Reverend Jerry's office. And you can check out more about that on the events page. Next Wednesday, July 6th, we had a little preview announcement from Regina. Practitioner Regina Buckwalter will bring a close. No, she will not. She will be kicking off the new monthly theme of self, and she'll be speaking on the self, the primary, and sacred relationship. Next Wednesday night at 6:30 is the meditation. Our service will start at 7, and it will remain on Zoom. We have a note from our youth and family ministry. They're back with the cry room. Our social hall and nursery are open and complementing our child-friendly sanctuary service is what we're calling a cry room experience to accommodate our growing families so that they can watch the service while nursing or hanging out with their littlest ones during the Sunday service. Even more youth events, classes, and volunteer opportunities are coming soon. So stay tuned. A lot about youth and family is on the website, so please check it out. And always, for information on all that is going on at our Oakland Center, please visit our website, oaklandcsl.org. Be sure to check out that events page. Don't forget, you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And if you're not receiving it already, you can also sign up for our weekly newsletter that sheds a week in advance of what's coming up, the Village News. And that's on the home page of our website, just requires your email address. So breathe with me as we follow along with me as I read the new minister's covenant. In this holy moment, the new minister's sacred covenant, there is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to reveal spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God as wisdom. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by Spirit. For it is written, I am filled with divine wisdom. I allow divine mind to fill my mind now. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unity in the community. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself. For I am inspiring unity in diversity, embracing and nourishing our community. I am awakening the wisdom within. I am healing and expanding our community with the power of love. I am engaging the community in building a world that works for everyone. I am deepening family consciousness. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they are revealed in a way that illumines spirit and serves the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful God is gracious, and so it is. Ashe. So I bless and release that. And I recognize our center is a very special place. We all have talent and time and treasures to contribute, for which I am so grateful. So on our next slide, we have a giving affirmation. And if you'll read along with me, joyously I give with an attitude of abundance, knowing that as I give, I do receive. And so it is. We're grateful for all of those contributions. It keeps our center going. It keeps the salaries paid, the place clean. So whatever you give financially goes right to the investment of maintaining our beautiful, beautiful facility and staff. So here's some quick ways that you can donate if you feel so inclined. On our webpage, the donate button on the home page right there for credit card, or you can mail it to the address listed. If you are heavily into texting, you can text it to 510-327-3431. That's another way, as well as if you use Zelle, and you can Zelle your donation to giving@oaklandcsl.org. And if you're ready and you wish to, you can join us at Sunday service, where we have offering baskets ready to receive your loving donations. So in this moment of gratitude, I want to thank some very important people that help keep this Wednesday night service afloat. They contribute their time and their talent. First of all, Reverend Jerry, thank you as always for being here. The Zoom team that I say are up front, it's because of them that we can appear in this forum. So I want to thank Peter, who's joining us with the long distance award all the way to Portland, Oregon. We thank you, Peter, and Helene and Alice and Luis is out there. As always, I'd like to thank the administration team of Constance and Peggy and John, who work to provide information and gather things together. And thank you, Zoe, for always checking on me to make sure I'm okay. You know I'm not. That's pretty clear. I'm just great. Thank you so much. So thanks to everyone that joined us tonight, and mostly thank you, Chantal, for being with us. I'm most grateful. So in this moment, if you would close us in prayer. We always start with prayer, and we're going to always close in prayer here at the Oakland Center. If you could do that, we'd be most grateful.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Paul, for all that you do and how easy you make it to show up here and speak. And so just breathing in gratitude right here and right now, as we acknowledge that one power and presence that has been with us all evening, and that is the essence of who we are, is around us at all times, supporting us, living, breathing through us, giving energy and vitality to our bodies, uplifting us even in difficult times. I just want to honor that spiritual presence, which is so palpable in this community, even through Zoom. I want to give thanks for each individual that showed up tonight, and just knowing that the 5 Ps and your body continues to carry you through life in the most awesome ways. give great thanks to Paul and the AV team and Reverend Jerry. I'm just so grateful to OCSL for being a place where we can show up and be ourselves. Giving thanks for this invitation to speak during Pride Month, a powerful month. And in this gratitude, I just let my word go. I release it into the one that always says yes. And please join me, if you will, in affirming this by saying, and so it is.
And so it is.